Right. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Lesson 9, part 3. So we'll share our highlight or low light of the week. We'll quickly review last week's questions and then we'll begin, inshallah. So lesson 9, part 2. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Why would Muhammad sometimes praise Khadija radiallahu anha in front of Aisha? Was it to annoy her? Amar, were you here last week? No? Rayan, were you here last week? No. Brother Faisal, were you here last week?
No, but I caught up on the...
Oh, you got it? Okay, go ahead. Was it to annoy her?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's natural love.
Okay.
To defend her, right?
Okay, you could say to defend, but also Prophet ﷺ said, he who is not grateful to the people is not. So he in Muhammad ﷺ here, he was showing his gratitude to Khadija radiallahu anha. Didn't matter if it was Aisha or anyone else. He just wanted to show his gratitude. So he wouldn't do it to annoy her. Why did the wives get jealous? Yes, Asma. Seems like a very low quality. Why did...
That's a natural tendency because they were sharing the Prophet with other women.
Okay, so it's a natural tendency. And
They
then...
wanted him for themselves.
Okay, and then we see later on when Aisha radiallahu anha matures, does she still have those feelings? Right? She said later on, Muhammad said later on in the days of Medina that she was his most beloved wife. So this shows that she understood that just because one person is being praised does not mean I am being belittled. A lot of times, especially in the early years of our marriage, we think like this. And remember, the wives of Muhammad they were not ma'soom. They were not free from committing mistakes, unlike the prophets. Marriage in Islam requires, yes, Sister Salihah, it requires blank and blank.
Requires the couple to agree.
Yes. So what is that called? What is the academic term in fiqh, in the books of
And qabul.
Ijab and qabul? So this means forced marriages are not allowed because there was no qabul. If the marriage is arranged, Muhammad ﷺ still advised the prospective bride and the groom to, yes, Nasia?
To agree on marrying one another.
To agree, right? And also to
meet each other.
To at least see each other. Yep, meet each other and see each other. Right? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Ahbib habibaka hawnamma." Yes, Sister Helena, love your beloved. Do you remember? Sister Afreen, were you here last week? No. Love your.
We don't remember this.
Is it for the sake of for this?
No. Remember we were talking about Valentine's Day, so then we mentioned this hadith. Ahbib habibaka hawnamma. Love your beloved in a moderate manner. Perhaps one day it will come where you the one who you love will hate you. The one who you love and you shared all of your inner secrets, they're using those secrets against you. And then he continued, he said, whoever you dislike them, once again, in a moderate manner. Don't have a passion for hate. Perhaps the person you don't like will become your beloved. Right? So here Rasulullah said, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. We're a balanced ummah. استعينوا على قضاء حوائجكم. Do your matters secretly. Very nice. I have 10 kids, I never kissed any one of them. What did Muhammad say? Man saw Muhammad kissing Hassan and Hussein, and he said, I never kissed any of my kids.
Allah did not put mercy in you.
Right. مَنْ لَا يَرْحَمْ لَا يُرْحَمْ. If whoever does not show mercy, they will not be shown mercy. What can I do about a person whom Allah has taken away mercy? So we discuss the philosophy of Islam. The philosophy of love in Islam is threefold. Who can tell me at least one of the aspects of the philosophy of love in Islam? So the philosophy of Valentine's Day is just taking and receiving, whereas the philosophy of love in Islam is servitude, right? Giving. We give. We discuss 7 lessons that we can derive from the life of Khadija radiallahu anha. Who can tell me one of those lessons?
She was the first to believe in Rasulullah.
So, be the first to do good. She was the first to do good. Don't wait for others to do good. Another lesson.
Use money for good.
Use your money for good. It will actually make you feel better. This is something that's taught over 1400 years ago, and now research is saying that if you spend on others instead of self-spending, that will actually make you more happy. And this is what our deen teaches. You spend on others, spend on the poor, spend on your parents. This will lead to tranquility. Another lesson, so we went over 2.
Do good to others and Allah will cause them to love you.
Do good to others, Allah will cause them to love you.
Lived a life of taqwa.
She lived a life of taqwa. We can infer that. He didn't say that she had the most taqwa. He said she was the best. But if she was the best, that must mean that she must have lived a life of taqwa. That's 4. We need 3 more.
Don't shy away from difficult.
Don't shy away from the difficult questions. She didn't shy away from the questions Fatima radiallahu anha, her daughter, would ask. Even though she was very busy with her career, she was still involved parent. Involved parent. And one more.
Be a pillar of support.
Be a pillar of support. Because she was a pillar of support, Rasulullah ﷺ said that she will be given a palace in which there will be no disturbance. She gave Muhammad ﷺ tranquility. You will be given tranquility in paradise. Very nice. Brother Farhan, please pass this out. I'll give you 5 minutes to go over the questions of today. There were a few questions that I forgot to ask from the previous lesson, so we'll continue with those and then we'll begin. What did Muhammad ﷺ say to Fatima that made her first weep and then laugh? Yes, Salih.
So, when the Prophet was departing, he asked her to come closer to her, and then he said that this is his time of departure, which made her cry. And then after that, he said that she will be the first one to join him, which made her laugh.
Very nice. Why did Allah give Muhammad ﷺ the most difficult test? The most difficult test for a parent is?
To bury a child.
And the most difficult test for a child is? Why did he go through these difficult tests? The most difficult test. Yes, Nasir.
You have to suffer like nobody else.
Right.
And the Prophet ﷺ himself said he has the most taqwa because he suffered like no one else did.
Very nice.
And also the second reason is to learn empathy. If
Right.
he didn't go through that, then he wouldn't know how to respond when someone else goes through it.
Right. So I make dua to Allah, may Allah protect us from going through these calamities. But if we do, we won't be one of those people, and I've heard this a few times, even amongst Muslims, I don't know what will happen if my kids pass away. I might even, lose myself. I may even commit suicide. No, we don't have to do that. We can still find satisfaction in life because we look at the life of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the powerful words that he said at the death of baby Ibrahim. What did he say at the death of baby Ibrahim? There was a few things that he said, mashallah, that really shows that he is the messenger. He is a complete human being. Who can tell me one thing that he said?
That the eyes are tearing on, heart is beating, but we will only say to Allah what is pleasing.
Yep.
And if the truth was not certain that we should be meeting again, we would have mourned you even more.
Very nice. Sister Nasia, is there another thing, Hadisa?
Yeah, I wrote those two, but also he also said in that
Yep. We're only borrowing baby Ibrahim. All right. And does being patient and strong, the sabr means that you're not allowed to cry.
You are allowed.
You are allowed to cry. It does not mean you are not, if you cry and you show that you are in pain, it does not mean that you are not patient. So what does being patient mean?
Not saying anything which Allah would not want us to, or against the decree of Allah.
Okay. Staying away from doing that or saying that which is forbidden, and staying firm upon the commandments of Allah. So it's two parts. Even the sun was sad at the death of baby Ibrahim. There was a solar eclipse. Yes, Sister Niha, true or false? Even the sun was sad. False. Right. What did Muhammad ﷺ say at the solar eclipse? Sister, I forgot your name. Yes. What did Muhammad ﷺ say to correct the companions? Why was there a solar eclipse? Do you remember? Sister Helena, do you remember?
The sun and the moon are signs of Allah. They don't become eclipsed because someone's dead.
Okay, the sun and the moon are signs of God. They do not eclipse because of anyone's death. Stop having these weird superstitions, everyone. All you got to do is sallu, pray, wa tukabbiru, glorify Allah, wa tusaddiqu, give charity. It's not complicated to enter paradise. So much so, what are the most common factors for a person to enter paradise?
Two.
You can just say it out loud, yeah?
To behold taqwa.
To have taqwa and husnul khulq. That's it. And the most common factors that will cause someone to enter the fire, you can just shout it out loud.
Loose tongue, and people don't take care of their pride.
Yep. Because of the tongue and because of the private organs. All right, let's begin lesson 9, part 3. When Muhammad ﷺ was 35 years old, 5 years before he received revelation, the chieftains of the Quraysh gathered to decide an important matter. They came to decide the reconstruction of the Kaaba. That's what they came to gather for. The rebuilding of the Kaaba. And the Kaaba needed to be rebuilt for 3 reasons. Number 1, the Kaaba was still on the construction of Ibrahim alayhi salam. For thousands of years, it was still on that foundation. And it was exposed to the wearing forces of nature that weakened and cracked its walls since it was built so long ago. The second reason why it needed to be rebuilt, the flood. A great flood in Mecca swept towards the Kaaba and almost demolished its very foundations. To safeguard its sanctity and its position, the Quraysh decided to rebuild the Kaaba. Because when people come to the masjid and they see a watered down structure, what do you think will happen to someone's morale or their attitude? They come to the masjid, it's all dark, it's dirty, it's wet, it's all, right? When you travel and you go to the masjid and you look up a masjid near me and you look at it and it's dark, what happens to you?
You don't feel like going.
Right, you feel like, I don't want to go. Right? So the short answer to this question, can you decorate the masjid? Yes. It is permissible to beautify the masjid as long as the decoration is not excessive. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna Allah jamilun wa yuhibbul jamal." Allah is beautiful, and Allah loves to see that you beautify yourself.
What is the third point of why the Kaaba needed to be reconstructed?
So we went over, we're on the second point right now. We're going to go to the third point, yeah. We're going to come back to that. Allah is beautiful. And then Allah said about the creation that we are also beautiful. Because He said, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Human beings have been molded in the best of molds. Appreciating beauty is an instinctive passion to man. Islam is a natural religion. It's a rational religion. It doesn't oppose artistic creativity nor the enjoyment of beauty. Moderate and meaningful masjid decoration is permissible. Moderate and meaningful masjid decoration is permissible, perhaps even recommended. It remains permissible until it infringes on some of the divinely prescribed ethical norms and standards. What are some of these standards? Most ulama will agree that using gold and silver in the masjid is haram. Why? It's excessive, but also who comes, is the masjid a public place? Does everyone have gold in their house? Right? So when the poor look at the gold, they say, yeah, you guys can have gold for, you can use gold for the doors and for the walls, but you can't even pay for my rent? What's up with that? Right? So we don't make the poor feel bad. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, yes sir?
But isn't the threading on the Kaaba, it has gold in it though?
Yeah. Does everything what they do according to the Quran and Sunnah? Right? Right. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam clearly said not to build monumental masajid in a hadith, right? So whatever is excessive, so whatever someone does, it doesn't mean necessarily that it's correct, even if they are in the authorities. That's one thing we need to understand. So excessive and meaningless embellishment elements that promote extravagance are impermissible. For example, conceit, haughtiness, excessive pride. Look how much we have, mashallah. Look at our wealth. Impermissible. Rivalry is another example. When you start designing the masjid because you want to make this masjid better than the masjid on the other street. Impermissible. So conceit, rivalry. If you're not even addressing the needs of the community. I went to a beautiful masjid while traveling at a location. Typed in the time for Maghrib came. Typed in closest masjid to me. Masjid is locked for Maghrib. For Maghrib. It's so beautiful, you're not even addressing the needs of the community. We had a few, so we had to pray outside. I went to another masjid and the Imam was reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. غَيْرِ الْمَغْزُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. It's like, you don't even have a proper Imam to lead the Salah. Why are you building such a beautiful masjid? So yes, Rasulullah ﷺ harshly criticized inappropriate decoration, but he did not denounce the idea of decoration and beautification as long as it does not infringe on some of the divinely prescribed standards. If you are interested in this topic, you can read a research paper titled Mosque Decoration Between Acceptance and Rejection. If you're more interested in reading this topic, you can read a research paper. It's titled in English, Mosque Decoration Between Acceptance and Rejection. So the second reason why the Quraysh decided to rebuild the Kaaba was to safeguard its sanctity and to protect its position. The third reason why they decided to rebuild the Kaaba, to elevate the door of the Kaaba. The people back then would place their valuables inside the Kaaba. They thought that nobody would dare go inside the Kaaba and take their valuables, because mashallah, the Arabs were people of honor. But what started to happen towards the end of the 6th century? What happened to that honor? Started to slowly fade away. As people started losing their honor, people started going inside the Kaaba and taking other people's valuables. They needed to elevate the door of the Kaaba. The Kaaba was also roofless. The Kaaba was a low building, slightly higher than the average height of an average man. And it consisted of stones stacked on top of one another without any clay that was holding them together. The Quraysh said, this time when we rebuilt it, we will build the Kaaba much higher. What the Quraysh wanted to do was not a simple renovation. They wanted to first demolish the entire structure of the Kaaba, including the foundations of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and then completely rebuilt it with a roof. How many times has the Kaaba been rebuilt and built? In some books of Seerah, it will say 5. But in the most authentic narrations, it mentions there were 4 times that we know for sure it has been built and rebuilt. 4 times. The first time is when Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son built the original structure. It remained as it was until the Quraysh rebuilt it 5 years before revelation descended. True or false? The Quraysh rebuilt the Kaaba. They wanted to rebuild the Kaaba according to the exact foundations of Ibrahim alayhi salam. True or false? It's true. They did want to rebuild it. True or false? Did they actually rebuild it according to the foundations of Ibrahim alayhi salam? No, that is false. Okay? They did not rebuild it according to the exact. Okay. Why were they not able to rebuild the Kaaba according to the exact foundations of Ibrahim alayhi salam?
Because they wanted to elevate the...
They wanted to use only halal money. Even the likes of Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab and some of the mushrikun of the Quraysh, they understood the power of halal and pure money. Today, criminals, right? Not even criminals, the good guys, they call themselves the good guys, they have no problem laundering money, using dirty money, and to cover it up. And then say, mashallah, we are supporting the poor and needy with our money. But they're not they're laundering their money. But the likes of Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab said, no. We're going to only use halal money to rebuild the Kaaba. How can we learn from this? We must also ensure, number 1, that our masjid doesn't have money like this. An Imam told me recently that there was a brother who would donate a lot of money to the masjid. He found out that that brother who would donate a lot, he had a liquor store. So he respectfully told him, brother, don't donate with that money. In regards to halal money, Allah said, "O you who think that you have Iman, don't eat the wealth from batil, using falsehood. Don't consume each other's money using falsehood. You are working from 8 to 4. Your employer thinks you're supposed to be working from 8 to 4, but you work only from 8 to 12, and then from 12 to 4 you do whatever you want. You do non-job related items. That money from 12 to 4 is impermissible. إِلَّا عَنْ تَرَادًا مِنْكُمْ. Only if there is mutual consent between you and the employer. If your employer knows that, yes, I can do non-job related stuff after I'm done from 12 to 4, then it is permissible. But otherwise, it is not. It is falsehood. Likewise, the employers, if they have a bunch of employees, And all of those employees have the same education, the same expertise. Yet the employer gives one employee much more than the other. This is also batil. It is falsehood. The Quraysh agreed to only use halal, pure money to reconstruct the Kaaba. And it turned out to be a success. It was a success. Some of the differences in the structure of the Kaaba compared to the time of Ismail alayhi salam was the Kaaba was now much, much higher. It was now no longer this high. It was 18 arms high. 18 arms spans high. A roof was added. It's good to tell our non-Muslim friends, because a lot of them think that we worship the Kaaba. So you can tell them, if we worship the Kaaba, then why did Bilal radiallahu anh go on top of the Kaaba and give the adhan? We face the Kaaba for the sake of unity, because it is so darn easy to get divided. So Allah says, no, you don't face here, and then this person faces here. No, we all face this way for the sake of unity. Inshallah, the direction is one. Inshallah, the hearts will be one. They also added 6 wooden columns used to hold up the roof. They also added a mizab, a water spout, so that the roof wouldn't collapse. The mizab is the golden sprout from which rainwater of the roof falls onto Hijr Ismail. It is also called Mizab al-Rahmah. There's a weak narration that Muhammad ﷺ would make dua under here. So the Quraysh were the first ones to do that. So this concept came from them all the way when Muhammad ﷺ was 35 years old. All of these added new structures. The doors of the Kaaba were slightly elevated above ground level for 2 reasons. Before, the door was on the ground level, but they elevated it. Now you needed a stairs. There were 2 reasons. What do you think these 2 reasons are? One more time, brother? Yep. Now if there's going to be a flood, it won't easily destroy the foundations of the Kaaba. It won't easily get in. And number 2?
To protect the valuables in the Kaaba.
Right. Now if someone's going to go in, they're going to need a ladder. And by the time they're using the ladder, they can see. So to prevent easy access into the Kaaba, now only certain people are allowed to go inside. Because there was a theft recently. One of the problems, as Brother Faisal mentioned, with having the Kaaba situated at the bottom of a valley, is that when it rains, valleys tend to flood. This was not an uncommon occurrence in Mecca. This would cause a lot of trouble before the days of flood control systems and sewage. So much so, in 1941, there was a massive flood, and some of the brothers, not some, but there was a few brothers that had to do tawaf swimming. There was a Bahraini man who did tawaf while swimming because it flooded. The Quraysh achieved all of their goals of reconstructing the Kaaba, but there was one goal that the Quraysh did not achieve. What was that goal?
Build on the same foundation.
Build on the same foundations. Why? Because they didn't have enough halal money. So the foundations of the Kaaba during the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam, it was not a cube shape, it was a rectangular shape. Right? It was a rectangular shape. The Jahili Arabs built it into a square shape. So the pre-Islamic Arabs settled for a smaller version of the Kaaba, and they put a mud brick wall to indicate the original dimensions. And then this let people know, hey, the Hijr Ismail, the Hatim, is part of the Kaaba. So much so when all of you will be performing the tawaf and you go through there, does that round count? No, you gotta continue doing another round. Common people like you and I get kind of sad that we are not elite and we cannot pray inside the Kaaba. But is all hope lost?
No.
What can we do? Pray in the Hatim. It's as if you have prayed inside the Kaaba. Fast forward, Muhammad ﷺ's got the power. He has conquered Mecca. Does he build the foundations? Does he rebuild the foundations of the Kaaba according to the foundations of Ibrahim alayhi salam? No. Why not? He's got the power, he's got the money, he's got the builders, he's got the carpenters, the architect, he's got everyone. But he said, Ya Aisha, oh Aisha, listen to this hadith, powerful hadith. Had your people not been so new, meaning it was only a short while that they were mushrikun. Had your people not been so new into the faith, I would have ordered the Kaaba to be reconstructed to include in it what was previously excluded. The Hijr Ismail. I would have made the Kaaba into a rectangular shape. I would have fixed it to the ground and made an eastern door and a western door. There used to be 2 doors. 1 door for entering and 1 door for exiting. I would have had it reach the foundation of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And the reasoning he gave was the people were too new in Islam, in the religion. This shows us that when people become Muslim, some people, mashallah, they're at a level, they are ready to accept all of the changes that they need to make. But many of our new Muslims are not. So we have to be careful when we're speaking with our new Muslims. A friend of mine, he came here for a khutbah last year. He was telling me that one day when he was an Imam in the Wisconsin masjid, a brother had an earring, new Muslim. So one of the musallis said, hey, you're not supposed to wear that. Stop wearing that. Second day, same musalli said the same thing. Third day, he said the same thing. And fourth day, he stopped coming. Right. I had a friend who, mashallah, who used to pray, used to give zakat, he did all the fara'id. We all have bad habits, we all have our own, difficulties that we're going through. So his challenge was, please don't laugh, he was attracted to the same gender. And then this got out, this leaked on social media. He started getting bullied on social media. He was getting bullied in the masjid. He left Islam. Now I'm just friends with him on social media. And alhamdulillah, last week he posted, he finally went back to the masjid for the first time. So this was very nice to hear. He said, I'm going to take it slow. I'm not going to overload myself, but I'm going to give it one more shot. I got so happy, mashallah, when he wrote that.
The Saudi government rebuild it nowadays to expand it.
Yep, we're going to talk about that. But that's going to be next week, actually. We're going to talk about that, yep. It did happen. It did happen where it got back to the foundation of Ibrahim alayhi salam. We're going to talk about that next week. Let us now discuss the reconstruction of the Kaaba during the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is in many books of Seerah. The Quraysh wanted to reconstruct the Kaaba, and now it seemed that the time was perfect. Ibn Ishaq states that they all had the wood that was needed, since the ship of a Greek merchant had driven ashore and arrived in Jeddah for repair. There happened to be in Mecca at the time an Egyptian who was a skilled carpenter. These factors led the Quraysh to believe that now was the perfect time to reconstruct it, especially since the flood occurred. But they were hesitant. Why were they hesitant to rebuild the Kaaba? Now put yourself in their shoes. You see the Kaaba is all in bad shape. you have to destroy the Kaaba. Would you want to destroy the house of God? What does that seem like to you? It seems kind of sacrilegious that if you do something like that, what's going to happen? Like a badwa, right? Something bad will happen to you. So they were hesitant. They're like, I don't want to do it. And no one was doing anything. You do it. You should do it. You do it. And then what made their fears and their hesitation greatly increased, this is in Ibn Ishaq. They got even more scared because there was a snake that was a large snake, an anaconda you could say, that was hissing at them every time they came closer to the Kaaba to destroy it, to rebuild it. If anyone approached the Kaaba, the snake would rear its head and hiss at it. Then Allah sent an eagle which seized this snake and flew away with it. The Quraysh took this as a positive sign. Alhamdulillah, it looks like Allah is pleased with our intentions. Still, nobody moved forward to rebuild the Kaaba. They were still terrified. Like, I'm not gonna do this. So they kept nudging the other person. You do it. You do it. No, you do it. Finally, Khalid bin Walid's father, Walid ibn al-Mughira, like father, like son, right? MashaAllah, bravery. Khalid bin Walid's father, who was the chief of the Makhzum clan, he said, Sa'abdu, I'm going to begin with the destruction of the Kaaba. Walid ibn al-Mughira picked up an axe. He stood by the Kaaba and then he said something really funny. He said, Allahumma lam tara. Oh Allah, don't be scared. Don't be frightened, oh Allah. Allahumma inna la nuridu illa al-khayr. We only want we only want that which is good. We only want that which is good, Ya Allah. Don't be alarmed. Would Allah be afraid of him? Of course not. Allah knows his thoughts. But compare his thoughts, compare what he said to what Khadija said. Right? Compare his aqeedah to Khadija's aqeedah. What did Khadija say when Muhammad said, Ya Khadija, Allah is saying salam to you? What did she say? Allah is salam. Allah is salam. Whereas some of these Jahili Arabs like Walid ibn al-Mughira, mashallah, brave man, but not the brightest man. He said, oh Allah, please don't get frightened. I'm just doing this for your good sake. He takes the axe and he starts deconstructing the Kaaba, Walid. Nobody, not one person helped Walid ibn al-Mughira. Not one person. They were still terrified. And then they said, let's use Walid as a guinea pig. If Walid survives the night, then we, alhamdulillah, all is good. And if he passes away, then we will bury him. The next morning they wake up and they find Walid ibn al-Mughira digging, he's reconstructing the Kaaba. They said, all right, this is a good sign, let us help Walid. When they start rebuilding the walls, they divided and delegated the works amongst the tribe. Each sub-tribe was assigned the task of working on one particular side of the Kaaba. Not one person did everything. Not one tribe was in charge of everything. They delegated. This was very smart of them. They get everyone involved. Even the noblemen. Usually, the work that involves physical labor, that was performed by the lower class. But here, everyone wanted to take part. Why?
It was a sacred building.
It was such an honor to do so. It doesn't seem like work, this is honor. And by doing this, by getting everyone involved, this helped the reconstruction process. Once the whole community has ownership of the project, then everyone will happily buy into the project. So everyone happily, it says in Ibn Ishaq, everyone happily collected stones, everyone happily donated their halal money. I was invited to speak at a masjid in Detroit in January. One of the community members was telling me that the founders of the masjid decided to expand the masjid and build a masjid without getting input from the community. And then they were not, the community was not very responsive. Right? So they could learn from the Seerah. If they read the Seerah, they would have learned that you need to get the input of the community so they feel a sense of ownership. Each tribe was assigned a wall of the Kaaba. The portion towards the door was assigned to Banu Abdi Manaf because they were the most noble tribe. So they got the best part. Usually when the Imam, those of you who have gone for Umrah, you see the Imam when he delivers the khutbah, he's standing right in front of the door of the Kaaba. That's the best part. That's where we try to want to sit for Jum'ah. The area between Hajar Aswad and Rukn al-Yamani was assigned to Banu Makhzum. The rear of the structure was assigned to Banu Jamh. And the Hatim section was given to Banu Abduddar ibn Qusay. When the building reached completion and the crucial moment of placing the black stone surfaced, what happened?
Placing the stone.
What happened?
Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
They
he
had to
took
place
the sheet
this-
and then he called all the
But before he came, what happened?
everyone.
Everyone wanted to do it. Right? They all started fighting violently. Banu Abduddar, this is mentioned in Ibn Ishaq. Banu Abduddar brought a bowl of blood. They dipped their hands into the bowl, smeared it against the Kaaba and said, we will fight to the death of having the honor of placing the black stone. Fight to the death. Right now, just maybe a few weeks ago, they did what? They dipped their hands in perfume, in the Hilf al-Fudul, remember? They were saying that we're gonna protect the honor of the oppressed. And now they are dipping their hands in blood. They're about to fight. And they did this because they didn't know how to write. This was their way of making a contract, making an oath. They just got done with the Fijar wars and it looks like they're going to fight all over again over something petty. After a few days of lots of tension and no solution in sight, Abu Umayyah ibn Mughira, one of the eldest members of the Quraysh, he said, "O men of Quraysh, you all need an arbiter. The first person that enters the gate of that masjid will be the arbiter. Do you guys agree?" They said yes. The following couplet was written in Seerah al-Mustafa. This is how the Quraysh resolved to rebuild the construction of the Kaaba. So I'll read it off. When the Quraysh resolved to rebuild the house, hostilities erupted amongst them until they halted the construction. The focal point of their contention was who will be privileged to place the black stone on its original location. When he sallallahu alaihi wasallam appeared, they all exclaimed, "Radina, we are pleased. If Muhammad, the trustworthy, places the stone, Al-Amina, Muhammad Al-Amin, the trustworthy." He positioned the black stone on a sheet and instructed each tribal leader to raise the sheet, and they all hoisted it together. Al-Amina, the trusted one, then entrusted the stone to its rightful place. As a consequence, all of them were pleased with what transpired. Last Jum'ah, we spoke about emotional intelligence. Is this not an awesome... how much emotional intelligence did Muhammad ﷺ have? There's so many difficult personalities, so many strong personalities. He's not even the oldest, and he comes up with this idea. Through, of course, ilham. It's not easy to have unity when you're in the presence of very strong personalities and people with different temperaments. But due to his emotional intelligence, he was able to preserve another war, protect the community from having another petty war from breaking out. We'll continue with the reconstruction of the Kaaba next week, inshallah. It was nice talking to all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.